live, guys. Anyway, this is Ross, and I'm gonna see if this thing's working right now. See if I can get this. Yeah, we should be live right now. Let's refresh this. Doesn't say we're online. Anybody out there? How did I do this again? It says we're broadcasting. Anybody out there? Yep, that's right. All looks right. Oh wait, we're live. What? Hey! Alright, so where's the chat to this thing? Oh, here we go. We're here, guys. Oh, okay. Anyway, so I see you guys. I see the chat here. Now, how do I get to the chats? I think I just have to... Oh, here we go. Pop out chat. Alright. Alright, guys, I think we're good. Alright, hello. So we got quite a few of you guys in here. I'm surprised. So let me just post the, I guess, the link to the live stream in my social media real quick. And then that way you guys, just a few more people can join us. Alright guys, so thank you everyone for joining so far. Thank you for the congratulations. It's been a pretty awesome ride so far. And I did a video, guys, on a 10,000 subscriber AMA that I was going to do when Bass's Gathering came around in June. And then I guess it was the second part of the video and no one seemed to see that part, but this was the video here. See 10,000 subscribers AMA and Trees of Joy 9th Annual Fig Gathering, which I posted this in May. And I don't think anyone saw the second half, so, but there were some people that did. So some people actually asked me questions in May, and I never got around to that. So I wanted to answer some of these questions. Like this guy here, Dion Man, asked me, "What's your dream job?" and blah 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 blah. So I think we can get to all these people's questions, and any of you guys in the chat, if you have any questions, you can ask me in the chat, and then that way I'll be able to answer for you guys right here, right now. But again, thank you guys for congratulating me. Let's see, we have Jackie's here. Hello, Jackie. Joseph, hello. Some of you guys, I've never seen some of you guys comment before. Um, Never seen any. Oh, look, it's actually crazy how live we are right now. There's no delay at all. But anyway, I haven't seen some of you guys comment before, so it's nice to see new names. But I have seen Joseph and Jackie. I met Jackie in person at the Staten Island Fig Festival last year, so hopefully I see some of you guys there this year if you're in the area of the Northeast. It's at least worth the trip out there once. I know someone messaged me a couple days ago. They said, Ross, you know, is it worth making the trip out there to the Staten Island Fig Festival? And I said, yeah, of course. And he said, it's a little difficult for me to get out there. And I said, all right, well, you got to make it out there at least once. You know, the guy's obsessed with figs. It just doesn't make sense to not go. But anyway, guys, we got people from all over the damn place. That's crazy. So we got people from Fresno, Central Florida, South Florida, Fort Lauderdale. My grandparents live in, they have a place in Highland Beach. And I go to Highland Beach actually quite often, Weaver. So I go down there quite often, and I love their house down there. My grandparents, they have a nice little boat that we take out in the intercoastal, and we play tennis down there. My grandparents are 80 years old, and not only are they 80 years old, but my grandfather's 86 now. My grandmother is 81 or 80, something like that. And they play tennis every day of their lives at 86 and 81, which is really cool. Oh, hey Xavier. Is that how I say your name? Am I saying that right? Southwest Washington State, Colorado. We're mostly stalkers. Very nice. So Joseph, BM does split. Preto and BM, they can be splitters, but it's worth it. And if I lived in Florida, for sure I would plant all of my figs on a mound, because any excess water is going to be a bad thing. So I would put them on a mound, and then I would make sure that that excess water is just going off somewhere else. You know, amend the soil. I don't know what kind of soil you have down there in Florida, but compost, more and more compost, and then that lack of water, or the excess water that'll then go somewhere else, will definitely help with splitting. Yeah, so Black Madeira, exactly. Black Madeira is what I'm talking about, guys. But if you guys have any questions, you know, let me know in the chat. I want to get to these other people's questions here in this video. Like I was saying in the beginning of the live stream, is that I did an AMA at 10,000, but we never really got to 10,000. It took me quite some time. I got a little confident or something that we were going to get to 10,000 way before we actually did. And I made this video on May 17th asking people for their questions. So let's answer these really quickly. I don't want to leave these people out and forget about them. And it's been like 4 months that I've been like, I gotta remember to answer these people's questions, you know. Let's see here. Okay, so Mad Dog asked me, am I by Bethlehem, Pennsylvania, because that's where Bass, my friend Bass, that's where his fig gathering is. He has a home nursery there with a really nice greenhouse. He sells all kinds of plants, and he has a really nice event there, similar to the Staten Island Fig Festival, which I was just talking about. But I'm not really near Bethlehem. I'm about an hour and a half. About an hour. So I'm outside of Philly, and that's pretty close to Bethlehem. I would say I'm pretty central to most things, which is really, really nice. Like, I'm pretty close to 95. I'm pretty close to US 1. So I can really easily get to parts of New Jersey and parts of New York, and also then, you know, places out west in Pennsylvania, or even south of me in like Virginia is really close. Like even DC is only like 3 hours away from me with no traffic. Well, there's always traffic. And then New York is like 2 hours, so parts of New York is 2 hours. So I'm really like in the middle of everything. Being in Philly, I find it to be really beneficial to make all these events. Cal Garden asked me, what fig has the most tropical flavor? And that's a hard question. I think Hated de Argentile has a really nice tropical flavor, and if you have the fig wasp, so if you live in California or parts of the Mediterranean, oh my god, is that fig good with caprification. It is really good. For me, it tasted sort of tropical. My friend says that yellow niches taste tropical, and in a few days I'm actually going to get my first yellow niches, so I'll know for sure right then and there. What else is tropical? That people have said Flanders is tropical, but mine died. I killed it. There really isn't that many, guys. And if you go to my spreadsheet here, so I go to on Google Drive, and all of my videos, in the description is a link to my spreadsheet where you guys can go there and view it. You don't have to to edit it, because you can't. I don't let you guys do that, but you can view it, and then you can see all the different categories I have them in. Now, this is a bit outdated, and there's a lot of fig varieties, so it's like really difficult to put every single variety, especially if I've never tasted it, never ripened it, into these categories. But these are pretty close to what they are. So the one I didn't mention is Soda Sicilian, and Soda Sicilian people say tastes like a peach. And there was a fig a couple days ago someone said tastes like a peach. I think Pesca di Oro. Let's see, what's the name of that fig? So this is Harvey's website. So this one right here, Fico Pesca di Oro, I believe also tastes somewhat like a peach. This is what someone said in California. I think they're in California. Yeah, so it says described as having a peach flavor. I think some figs actually taste like peaches. You could kind of get that, but it's not like an overwhelming, like, oh my god, that's a peach. You know what I mean? So Cal, I hope that answers your question. There really isn't that many that I've come across so far to where I was like, that is extremely, tropical. So hopefully that answers your question. So Dion Man asked me in May, he wants to know what my dream job is and what is something you would love to grow but I can't because of my location. Well, guys, there's a million things I want to grow but I can't. I do have a greenhouse, but most of that is being dedicated to figs and storing them in the greenhouse, like most of you know. So having them, that space being taken up by the figs is limiting the other tropical things I could be growing. We grew about 7 or 8 different tropical plants, like the Barbados cherry. We grew some guavas. We grew a lemon guava. We grew pineapple guava. We grew a loquat. I had a mango tree. I had like 4 citrus trees. I've gone through so many citrus trees, and you know what? They're just a little bit more work than I'm willing to put in, especially in a container. I would love to be able to have a greenhouse that is sunken. If you guys know what those greenhouses are, where they're underground and you can go about 3 to 6 feet underground. They're called walapinis is another name for them, and you can use that heat from the earth to kind of act as a heater. And then what you need to do is you need to insulate that. So one layer of plastic over a greenhouse or even just some glass isn't going to be very insulative. So what you have to do is get 2 layers of plastic. Well, at least what I'm thinking I want to do is get 2 layers of plastic and inflate that. So people have this fan that you can get that runs on the electricity of a light bulb. and that light, that electricity, that fan inflates the 2 layers of plastic and gives you, I think, an R5 insulation. So you get the, yeah, exactly, a climate battery greenhouse. So you basically have the heater from the earth, because the earth, if you dig down deep enough, will have all kinds of thermal heating, and then you just have to insulate that somehow with some kind of insulation throughout the wintertime. And that, I think, is my dream job. So that's kind of leading into what Dion Man was asking me 4 months ago or 3 months ago. I would love to be able to sell fruit to people, especially fruit at a really high quality, at a really wide variety. So like the really specialty figs, the really specialty mangoes, the really specialty pieces of citrus, like maybe like a Cara navel orange or a Moro blood orange. Things that are really hard to find in a store. You only have to grow yourself. And I think there's a niche there, especially here in the Northeast. If any one person can grow figs at an extreme, at a very high quality, and sell them locally, that they don't have to ship them all the way across the world, because they all come from California, right? The ones in the United States anyway. They come from California, at least the fresh ones, and then they pick them 60% at 60% ripeness. So 60% to 100%, let's say. So 0% is inedible, 100% is perfectly ripe, right out of my garden, right? Right out of the backyard. And let's say these people in California, they're picking them at about 60%. So they're not even close to 100%. And because you're only getting them at 60%, they're really not that tasty. And you know what? They don't really hold up well. So if I was able to grow figs or other tropical fruits, pick them at a very high level of ripeness to get a better fruit quality, and then sell that to people locally so they wouldn't have to drive very far to get this, that would be my dream job. That would be the goal. That is the goal. So at some point in the future, guys, I know a lot of you have been asking me if I'm going to sell plants, do this, do that. That's pretty much the answer, is that I'm doing accounting for now, and then as soon as I can get enough money to put together to buy a property where it's my home, because I work at home as it is right now, and I wouldn't want to change that. So if I could work at home and then have lots of land to then put in walapinis or sunken greenhouses, and then grow all of these things in a greenhouse, extend the season that way, have higher quality fruit that way, control the exact amount of water, control the humidity, that would be the ideal goal. And then the problem would be at that point kind of getting people into figs or into mangoes or into these specialty fruits that normally people don't get, right? So it's like you need to basically build a kind of like the kiwi berry people, right? Do you guys know who the kiwi berry people are? So there's these hardy kiwi people, so kiwi corners I think they're called. So these people, they sell kiwi berries, which are hardy kiwis. So not the fuzz, not the kiwis you get at the store with the fuzz. They're the ones that have a smooth skin. You eat them in one bite and they taste like grapes. And these people, I've watched YouTube videos on them. They have a huge plantation in Pennsylvania, believe it or not. They have the largest, I think, out of like 3 farms or something. I don't remember what it was. But basically, what they had to do over like 30 years of their lives. I mean, they're really successful people because they believed in this fruit, right? They believed that kiwi berries would be a thing, and now you see them all over. You see them in Whole Foods all the time. I don't know about you guys in other states, but for me, I see them all over the damn place. So, these people basically had to build an entire marketing strategy to get people into these kiwi berries, and they had to do it to a point where they were at a very high quality, right? Because they had to be better than other kiwi. right? They had to be better than something else. So to me, that's the goal, is to get people more interested in fruits, because they really are just so damn good. Like, I mean, you guys see my videos, so you know how excited I am for some of this stuff. Anyway, guys, let's see what else. I want to catch up now what you guys have been commenting. Let's see. So Mike is checking in from Maryland. Hello, Mike. What's going on? Thank you. Jackie got a shout out, first time ever on YouTube. Yeah. I feel like there's there's some of you guys out here that have been in that are watching right now, or have been a part of my channel for really almost the whole way, the whole journey. So Jackie, I know you're one of those people, so thank you for that. Like, I know the more you guys comment, the more and more I know your names, and I know who you guys are. And I really do recognize, definitely names really, really well. So if you comment a lot, I'll always recognize it. Okay, so Joseph says, mine's from JF&E, 25-gallon pot. Very productive, but a majority of them split. I eat them anyway. So it's tough in Florida, Joseph, but again, if you limit the water, like I'm only giving my 5-gallon trees about 8 ounces of water a day, so about a cup of water a day. When it's in the 90s here, I'll water them every day, but then I'll go back to every other day when it gets below 90 and like in the 80s. So like today it was in the 80s. So I'll usually water like 16 ounces. Yeah, I'll do 16 ounces, which then comes out to about 18 ounces every day, because I'll skip some days. And I'm not going to lie to you, Joseph, I haven't had a single fig split for me this year. Not a single one. And this is the first year I've been really, really on the water, like really limiting that stuff, because I'm telling you, it makes a huge difference in the flavor. It makes a huge difference in the splitting and the sugars in the fig, the bricks in the fig. And they don't spoil as much. They don't spoil as easily. It really makes a huge difference. There's a guy in, I talk about this all the time, but there's a guy who is a friend of mine. His name's Stephen Winter. He actually has the best fruits of any person alive. He has not only the best fig varieties, but he ripens them at such a huge, high quality that, look at this fig. Look at that. That's his fig, right? So he ripened this. Look how good that looks. So what he does is he has them in a greenhouse, and he's able to control every little thing in his greenhouse, from water to humidity to temperature, you name it. And he basically has the perfect climate for figs. And he gets, like, these are like insanely rare varieties, number one. Or number two, the quality, you can physically see the quality in these figs. And I talk to him pretty often, because this is the guy you want to talk to, right? This is the guy you want to learn from. And you can tell just by looking at this, the unmistakable quality in the fruits that he's getting. He also grows a whole bunch of other fruits. He doesn't just grow figs. Like, the guy has been growing fruit his entire life for the most part. And he tells me it's all in the water. It's really all in the water. He gets like insane bricks on nectarines doing the same thing. He doesn't even like figs as much as his nectarines. I've never had his nectarines, but I can't imagine a fruit of this quality being beaten by something. I mean, so if something is beating the figs of this quality, his nectarines, which in my mind it's just a nectarine, guys. But I've never ripened a homegrown nectarine, right? I've only ripened homegrown peaches, and my figs beat my peaches. But nectarines apparently are even better than peaches if you can ripen them in the perfect climate. Anyway, next question from Joseph. Sorry about that noise, guys. Joseph says, do all Col de Dame figs taste the same? And I don't think that's 100% true. I haven't had every single Col de Dame next to each other, but I think they're very similar to the point where you don't need all of them. In fact, I think for me, I'm going to narrow it down to probably like one or two, and the one that I'm going to narrow it down to, because I have almost all of them. You know, I don't have the Ramada, and I don't have the Borda Sotenka, right? But I got the more common ones, which is good enough, right? I got Noir, Gris, Blanc, Blanca Negra, Roja. First off, Roja and Gris are probably the same thing. Pons, Montserrat Pons, list them as synonyms, and a friend of mine and I were kind of the opinion that they're probably the same thing. Whatever Pons says, you got to listen to that guy, because he's like the number one fig grower in the world. But I would say if I had to go with one, it would be Blanca Negra, because it's the earliest. Plus, you get two different colored figs in the same branch. How cool is that? So I have a feeling they're all the same in terms of taste, but there may be some minor differences. I know they all share some similarities in the flavor. Let's see here. Do all Col de Dame taste the same? We did that. Cal said, I just started growing fig trees. The biggest problem is that nobody's willing to ship to California every time I get on the web. I have no problem shipping to California. I'm going to have cuttings that I'm going to sell in November. I'm not going to be selling a whole lot. I do have a few trees, like very, very few trees, that I'm going to be selling at the end of this year as well. And I'm going to make a video on that when all that's going to be going down, so that people know, because I get, people ask me all the time, when am I selling stuff? So I'll let you know, Cal, in a video. But I will certainly sell cuttings. Last year I sold cuttings, and the sale ended in 3 hours. I sold every single thing in 3 hours, so you got to be on it. So Weaver, thank you for subscribing. Let's see here. A lot of people in Cali grow figs. Says Stella Plums. It's true. There's so many fig trees all over the place. You should be able to get any fig out there. That's also true. There's a lot of fig growers in California that if you just know the right people, they'll literally give them to you for free. I mean, figs grow like weeds there, right? So you have just huge trees. You can literally ask them at dormancy, probably sometime in February or January, be like, hey, can I have a branch off your fig tree? And they're like, sure, take as many as you want. That's literally going to be the conversation. There's also some really interesting figs you can get for California, like Unknown Pastilieri is the best. Xavier, I'm with you on the Wallapini for sure. Rockwell, what's going on, man? Spread the fig community vision. Yeah, I mean, figs are too good to not talk about. I think they're just that good. Fruit Nut, what's going on, Vinny? So if anyone doesn't know who Vinny is, or Fruit Nut in the chat, Vinny has a YouTube channel as well. He just started. He also grows a lot of different figs. He grows a lot of tomatoes. I've never seen more tomatoes in my life, dude. I don't know what you're doing over there, but you have like an unbelievable amount of tomatoes. You must have stomach aches every day. It's 1:30 in the morning, dude. You gotta get to sleep. But thanks for tuning in, man. Let's see here. Xavier's been thinking about the same thing, selling fruit and vegetables. I already have a restaurant lined up for figs, and he knows it will be a few years before I have enough fruit. Wow. Awesome. I mean, I just went to a really, really nice restaurant in Philly yesterday. It's called Zahav. Or actually, I went on Monday. It's a fine dining restaurant. Well, it's not fine dining, but it's small plate. And it's really, really high quality. Some people say it's the best restaurant in the city, and it's an Israeli restaurant. They have all kinds of Middle Eastern type things. I was eating like, there's like 3 different types of hummus. They had eggplants, they had lamb. They're known for their lamb. It's like $60 a person for their lamb. They spend like 4 days on it. And I'm thinking to myself, Oh my god, this place would love if I could provide them pomegranates, persimmons, and figs. Because when I was in Israel, guys, they had persimmons at every single meal, and those things are so damn good. Yeah, so the kiwi berries, the variety, they have two different varieties at Kiwi Corners. One is Anna, and I forget the other one. I think it's like their own patented variety. But I just put in Anna in the ground. Anna's Nea. It's a Russian, I think, Russian kiwi vine. Very commonly found, guys, on the web. You can find this one real easy. Anna kiwi vine. I love how Anna Kendrick comes up first. So yeah, here it is right here on Stark Brothers. This is the one that they sell in like Whole Foods. It has the highest bricks. You just need to give it a pollinator, which is probably the most difficult thing. Jason says, are all your figs in a container? No. I have about 12 in the ground right now. 5, 3, plus 2 more. Yeah, so I have actually like 14 figs in the ground right now. I have one at my parents' place in Jersey, and then I have 13 here, and I'm gonna put 10 more in the ground. I'm really into putting them in the ground now because I think my trees are really gonna get through this winter, especially when they're planted up against the house. And I've talked at great length about this, Jason, so you can go back if you want and look up that video. But basically, I'm putting them all against the house if I can, and I'm putting them, all of them are going to be mounded up to increase the metabolism, because it's kind of going to be like a raised bed. And when you have a raised bed, the soil warms up quicker. The soil is just warmer, so because the soil is warmer, the fig has a higher metabolism and can perform much, much better. So I'm going to mound them up. I've already mounded them all up for the most part. And then I've also, on top of the mounds, added rocks or brick. And that stuff absorbs heat during the day, releases it at night. And I think that is huge. I don't know for sure, but I have a feeling that brick or rock thing is going to be massive for getting these guys through the winter here. 0 degrees Fahrenheit in the wintertime is like right on the edge, and I think that's the key. Okay, so do I overwinter my figs in the greenhouse only? No. So you got to keep them above 20 degrees Fahrenheit. That's the key number. You have to pay attention to that number. Anything below 20 degrees, Jackie, I know you're listening, this is the number, 20 degrees. If they drop below 20, they will take some damage. They may not die, but they will take some damage. So it's really important to keep them above 20. And if you have an unattached garage, I don't know how well they're going to do. I don't know where you live, but keep them above 20 and put a thermometer in there and put a heater in there just in case, just as like a backup, right? So say you get down to 0 degrees outside and in the garage gets to 15, you got a little alarm in there that sends a signal to your phone or to something. That's what I have, because if it drops below 32, I get a signal sent to my phone and I go out there and see what the problem is, because if we lose electricity, the heater doesn't work, it's 0 degrees outside, I'm going to lose all my trees. But I have a separate storage area now that I'm going to store most of my trees in. The greenhouse will only be for late season varieties of figs, and then under the sunroom will be for the early varieties that they don't need a head start, so why put them in the greenhouse, right? Free up some room in there, make things easier. What's a good fig for a cooler climate? Well, Duro Durant, I'm glad you asked that, because on my spreadsheet, which I've been talking about, I have a whole list of them. Top performing figs right down here. And these all do really well in cool, rainy climates. And some are not as hardy as others, and you can read the notes here. But this list is slowly growing, and these are my favorites. But there is some in here going to be some winners that I'm slowly accumulating, getting more time with, more people are getting more time with them, and then I can slowly add them to this column here. Some of these in the my top choices are, there's so many synonyms for them, like Hardy Chicago. There's like 60, 70 named Hardy Chicago types. So be careful with which ones you get. You know, you may not want to get multiples of the same one, but any of these will do really well for you in a cooler climate. Jackie's a long-time subscriber but can't get a fig plant to survive. It's alright, Jackie. This stuff, when you become a better grower when you kill things. It's a fact. I've killed so many things, you would blow your mind. So just keep killing stuff. So Weaver says, don't water mine a lot and still nothing. You talking about your Black Madeira? So the fertilizer doesn't matter in terms of splitting, but I have a whole video on the fertilizer, guys. So you can go to my channel here, and it's the one right on the first page for you guys, but it's, you just type in fertilizer, and it's this one right here. Proper soil and fertilizer for container fruit trees. And that will tell you all the fertilizer I use. Vinny says, oh wow, I don't follow that group. And this guy Steven had ripened his mirror. How's your Izmir coming? Yours died? Oh man. Alright, well Vinny, I have like 4 Izmir trees now. I purposely think, because I know Izmir is going to be a top variety, guys. Here's a list of all my figs, and I have one from Steven, Vinny, that we did. I did a trade with him, and then I have two grafted plants from you. Yeah, 2 grafted plants from you. The one that's grafted on Raspberry Latte, holy hell, is that vigorous! It's probably put on like 3 feet of growth. And the tree is like 6 feet tall now, at least. It's gonna fruit. So my one from Steven is gonna fruit. So I get to try it. And I think Steven got it from you too. So you gave it to Doug, and then Doug gave it to Steven, and then now I have one from Steven. But anyway, I can definitely get you a cutting for sure. Let's see. Stella Plums, that's my biggest fear as a new fig grower, is catching when the cuttings come up and missing a chance to get them. Well, to be honest, Stella, the nice thing about it is that there's people in the Northeast that start in November, and then there's people from all over the country that just make that a longer thing. The people in California and maybe even parts of Florida will sell cuttings in, like, you know, January and February. So you get pretty much cuttings all the way from November to February, even into March. People have leftover cuttings that they have. Babette says, hey Babette, I haven't seen you in a while. Good to see you here. I need to cut my fig back. I need to cut back my fig to cage it in to keep the critters out. Can I do that now? I wouldn't do that now, but I guess you could. It's just that when you cut the fig tree back so much, it's going to lose a lot of sap, and that's going to put the fig tree back quite a bit. You're going to lose a lot of carbohydrates that way. It depends on how much you're cutting back, you know. It also depends on where you live. I don't remember where you live. Weaver says, will the roots damage your house pipes? No. So this is another common misconception, and I don't know why this has been a thing, to be honest with you, because a lot of people tell me this all the time. But I know so many people, like I know at least 20 different people that have a fig tree right up against their house all over the country with absolutely no damage. In fact, some of them are even like 30 feet tall. There's a guy in California with a 30-foot tall fig tree right up against his house. So I don't think so. The way that it works is that the fig tree, when you propagate it, is usually propagated by cutting. If it's propagated by cutting, it doesn't have a taproot. The roots go out horizontally, usually 2 times the width of the canopy. If it's propagated from seed in nature, right? Because birds, you know, they peck at figs and then plant seeds all over the damn place. They're very invasive that way in California. But if they're planted from seed, they will have a taproot. So just be aware of that. And then at that point, they will damage your house. So Mike says, I found Anna Kiwi at Home Depot. It came with a male pollinator in the same pot. That's awesome. You sure that's not acai though? Because acai has both. But I've grown acai and it's not as vigorous as other kiwi vines I find, or I've been told, and it didn't really do well for me, Mike. It got like some kind of fungal disease all the time, and it just didn't do well. It took forever to get started. I had acai kiwi like 4 years ago, and now I'm finally getting around to trying it again. But that's nice if it comes with a male. Wayne says, Ross, I'm looking for Martinica ramata. Would you have one for sale in the fall? Okay, so I have never tasted a Martinica ramata. Yeah, Wayne's asking me how would I rate the taste. I would say it's good. It's probably a 9. I don't think it's going to be the best fig ever. You know, the striped figs, guys. Sorry to tell you, but the majority of them, unless you live in California, are more for looks than for tastes. You know, it's just. I don't know. I can't say for sure, but everyone I know loves it. And I have a feeling it's definitely going to be good, but I don't think it's going to be, you know, top tier, like super, super, super good. You know what I mean? So Jackie says, so I guess it wasn't entirely my fault. It's an attached garage, but last winter it got really cold for a number of consecutive days. Not sure on the temp, but I'll remember the 20 degrees. Yeah, you got to do that. That's key. Xavier says, I have over 30 varieties of figs. All of them are outside, 2 in the ground. Rest are in smaller pots, and I did not lose any last year when the temperatures dropped below 14 degrees. Well, that's impressive. I know some people have really good success overwintering them outside, like Vinny, as an example, who's in the chat. He overwinters them outside, I think. There's also a guy in Holland who does that. I know some people here. There's a guy in Jersey who tried it, and he realized that 20 degrees was the sweet spot of, like, you don't want to go past. So if you were surviving at 14 degrees, then that's awesome. In fact, that's really impressive. So Weaver says, my tree is a brown turkey. So, okay. Is it splitting? Why do I want it close to the house? Because it's a nice microclimate there. The heat from the house, because there's a heater going on in the house throughout the wintertime, plus it absorbs heat during the day from the sun, just like the rocks, thermodynamic heating. It's really, really nice. It blocks the wind as well. So I have them, most of them south-facing, a south-facing planting. So the south sun hits the house all day. And then I also have some on the side of the house where the sun is setting. So the warm sun hitting the side of the house when the sun sets is also a really nice way to do it, which I'm going to be doing as well. Is there somewhere where you can access the list? Yeah, it's right here, actually. Right here in my spreadsheet. These are all the varieties I'm growing. It's not exactly 100% accurate, but this is as close as I can get it. And I've also included the taste ratings and the notes that I will put in here for each of them. So you can look this up anytime you want. It's right in the description of every single video is this spreadsheet here. Babette says she's in California 10B. I would not prune your tree. It's probably like in the 90s where you live. 10B sounds really warm. I wouldn't prune your tree right now. I'd wait till the thing goes dormant. You're going to lose a lot of sap and it's not going to be good for the tree. Let's see here. I don't know how to pronounce her name, but JTBE Cool. JTB Cool, I guess. What's up, JT? Is Petite Negra and Petite Negri the same? Yes. Tastes like oatmeal. Holy hell. Yeah, that's not actually not a bad description of that fig. I think if it has like a berry flavor to it, then yeah, it's like a pretty decent description. That's a really good fig, by the way. It's similar to Violette de Bordeaux. Don't kill me for my French pronunciation, but it's a really, really good fig. In fact, I have a picture of it right here. This is not Petite Negri, but this is one of the Violette de Bordeaux types. See how it says the Violette de Bordeaux family here? This is one of them. I forget which one it is. I had to look back in my notes, but really, really good fig. Mine is ripening right now. In fact, in the next couple of days, my Petit Albique, it's called, that I have, is going to ripen figs in the next like 1 or 2 days. It's really, really reliable, which is great plus. Let's see, we can go back to this video I posted. Let's see, Ross, good morning to you from Connecticut. Is this gentleman selling fig trees? Yeah, Bass, he does sell fig trees on his website. So BassTreesOfJoy.com, he sells all kinds of figs. I just bought one from him. It's a really rare variety that he was selling for pretty cheap. So Jerry says, you started to mention about another fig tree event in the Northeast. Where and when? Well, Jerry, the Staten Island Fig Festival is coming out, or is going to happen on the 15th of September. I'll be there. I made a video on that to try to get people to come out and see if they want to meet me. It's a really nice event that if you're into figs, there will be figs to eat, not many, but there will be so many fig people there for you to not be able to start a conversation with somebody you don't know is, I think, would be pretty insane, because everybody there grows figs or likes figs. There's different levels of people. You got people like me who are obsessed, and then you've got people that are from like Staten Island that grow them locally and have been growing them for 30 years, but don't have the wide variety that people like me have. So let's see here. Order from trees, Bass all the time. Yeah, he has nice trees, and Bass is a really good friend. So for sure. If any of you guys aren't following me on Facebook, by the way, I guess this is a nice time to plug this. This is my Facebook, and you can follow me at facebook.com/RossRatty, or on Instagram, or on Twitter. So I just started the Instagram and I just started the Twitter. We got a lot of followers right off the bat, which is really cool. I respond to Facebook the most. So if you want me to respond to something, I suggest you say something on Facebook. But you can also message me on Facebook, and I talk to people all the time. I mean, look at this. It's just a crazy amount of people messaging me. So this is a nice way to get in contact with me and send me, whatever it is you guys want to ask me. But the Facebook page and the social media accounts, guys, I try to post many things on here that you don't normally get to see in the videos sometimes. And then sometimes I'll talk about them. So like, here's a bunch of heirloom tomatoes I harvested recently. Finally got these coming in about a month ago, and I'm just now getting around to posting about them, and just now getting around to actually making a video on them. So if you're into this kind of thing, you're into different, maybe even figs I like to post. Like, this was a trip I just took to Jersey to get all these free pots. This was like what I ate on the road trip to Jersey. All this stuff was homegrown. Here's a nice thing from Johnny's, because the fall season's coming up, guys, and the fall vegetables are really, really good. And a lot of people complain that the season ends too quickly if you live in a colder climate, or it takes forever to get started. But it's like, Yeah, it takes forever to get started, but isn't that a good thing? Because then you can grow all this stuff. That's right. So this is a nice chart from Johnny's that you can go on their website and actually download this spreadsheet. Plug in your date here. So this is the first frost date in my area on average. Plug that in and it tells you when to plant all this stuff. How awesome is that, dude? Here's some edamame. Edamame, by the way, guys, if you are not growing soybeans, it's the easiest thing to grow. It's the easiest thing to make. And it's so good. There's no reason to ever go to the store or a restaurant and buy edamame. There's just no reason. It's so good when you make it yourself, too. You just have to boil it for 3 minutes. You salt it really well. Add some pepper, maybe some more salt when it's done, and you literally have the tastiest, one of the tastiest things you can grow right there. So anyway, guys, this is just my social media that I know some of you guys are already following, so I'm not going to harp on it forever, but you know, you can follow me on either 3 of these. And like I said, some of this stuff I don't make videos on. Let's see here. Where do I get my trees? So this is a really tough question because there's a few people I really like to get trees from, to buy from, and there's also a ton of people I don't like to get trees from. Just over time, I've realized 2 are the better sellers, you know, on eBay or FigBid. So FigBid's a really good website, guys. I'm going to do a video on this website. But on this website, you can buy fig trees or cuttings at any time of the year on this website. Specifically figs. You can also get other things here. My friend Devin is selling tree tags. And also the guy who runs this thing and the owner, the creator, is my friend Danny, who I've spent numerous amounts of times with in person. Like, I know this guy, you know, in person. I know what kind of person he is. He also used to work for the NYPD, and this whole website was specifically created to deter scammers or to deter worse or bad sellers. So you can go on this website, and not every seller on here is going to be incredible. You know, my friend Brian, who is selling right now Valley Black, by the way, is a variety that I'm going to get next year from Brian and try to grow myself. This fig is incredible. It was found in California as a seedling, and he's selling it on FigBid to anyone who wants it. Look at this fig. It looks just insane. So Brian sells really nice stuff. Bass sells really nice stuff. My friend Bill, my friend Big Bill, sells really nice stuff. I mean, I don't want to name, you know, who's good and who's bad, because, you know, that could stir up some drama. Plus, if I say one person's good and I leave other people out, then it's like, well, you know, I'm kind of, you know, screwing somebody at some point. So I don't want to do that. But I will say that I did do a video on a few of my favorite nurseries. So Just Fruits and Exotics is a great nursery to get things from. I've also gotten really nice plants from Stark Brothers Nursery. I've gotten nice things from Rain Tree Nursery. And I've gotten nice things from, who else? Burnt Ridge Nursery is really nice. There's a lot of online nurseries that are, you know, big, that do a really nice job. You know, this year I'm going to be buying things from Ison's. I'm going to be buying some muscadine grapes from them. These are really the muscadine people, man. You want to buy a muscadine grape, this is the place you want to go. You know, I'm also buying, what's the name of this place? Double A Vineyards is the place I'm getting another grapevine from. It's the Everest grape, Everest seedless, which they just bred. They just came out with it, and I've been talking about this on my social media for a while. I just put in a video recently about my muscadine grape and my jujube. I think that was the one that came out today. I don't know. Is that the one that came out today? But this is the grape that I'm going to put there where the other grapevine died. And this one's incredible. For many reasons, I think. It's basically a Concord grape with better disease resistance. You can see here what the disease resistance is like. And Concord's already reliable as it is. It's one of the most reliable grapes you can grow in the Northeast. We have huge problems with rot and other diseases. And you need to find one specifically that is disease resistant. So, it depends on the nursery, guys, where to get things. But for figs, I usually get them from friends. Like, I normally don't buy too many things anymore. My friend Steven, you can go on eBay and buy things, but my friend Steven, Fruit Nut, he sells really nice trees. You can see his listings here. So he's the guy I showed you guys the fruit quality here on this. He sells these trees and he gets crazy prices for these guys. But you know what? His plants are really nice, so he deserves it. But at the same time, figs in general are just overpriced right now. So it kind of sucks, but it is what it is. A lot of people are getting more and more into figs, and that's why they're so expensive. Hopefully that answers your question, Weaver. JM Steve 45 says, what's your favorite LSU variety and why? Do I have to have one favorite? I think it's going to be Tiger. I have four LSU Tiger trees. I had 5. I just had my first one today. It was really good. I did a video on it and the thing cut out. So I'm going to have to redo the video, and then sometimes at the end of my videos the last like 2 minutes cuts out. It's just really stinks. But I'm going to have to wait till the fig ripens again, redo the video, and then I'll publish it for you so you can understand what I'm talking about. But I'm pretty sure that one's going to be the best, at least where I live. LSU Purple is also really good, and it could be a contender for the top spot. LSU Champagne is very, very underrated. It is the best honey fig that I have so far. It holds up to the rain better than most figs I have. It's very early. It always puts out figs. It has Celeste in its parentage. That one's going to be it is a huge winner across the entire eastern coast of the United States. LSU Champagne is also a really good one. LSU Improved Celeste is a really good one. Also, LSU O'Rourke is a good one. There's so many LSU varieties that people keep coming up with out of the woodwork, it seems like. But there is a lot that have been released, and out of the ones that have been released, those 5 are the best. And I would say probably Tiger being the best, at least to my taste, because it has a berry flavor and it has a honey flavor, whereas the rest of the LSU figs don't. So it is what it is. For that reason alone, that's my favorite type of fig, which is honey plus berry. And I've talked about this numerous lengths, and here it is in my spreadsheet, right? The honey berry category. These are the figs that are the best to many people, and in my opinion. But that doesn't mean that you won't like the honey category the best, or the berry category, or the light berry category. You have to figure that out for yourself. And because LSU Champagne's in this category, it's a totally different fig than LSU Tiger, right? And LSU Purple being in this category is a totally different fig from LSU Tiger and LSU Champagne. So it's really tough to answer that question, but for my opinion, LSU Tiger is probably the best. So oh, hey, it's Tommy from Facebook. What's going on, man? I was asking you if it's worth getting Unknown Past the other day. Yeah, no problem, man. Thanks for the compliment. It's definitely not worth getting Unknown Past Larry. But it is if you're in California. Anyway, JTB Cool, he's saying he's training his Petite Negra into a Japanese Espalier. How important is the shape of the cordon? Not exactly horizontal, more wavy. I don't think it matters, dude. I don't know where you live, but if you live in a colder climate, the Japanese Espalier, which is, for those of you who don't know what that looks like, I can show it to you. By the way, I went to Japan, and that was a really nice trip. So here's somewhat similar. Let's see. This one's probably the closest. So see how this is actually a fig tree too, believe it or not. But see how the trunk comes up here in the middle, and then it splits off, and then from these two trunks, the horizontal trunks here, then it sends up new shoots every year. This is exactly how I would train my figs in a greenhouse setting, by the way. And this is a really good system for those of you who live in cooler climates, because this is really low to the ground. These arms, these horizontal arms here, you could put them down here and only make them like 6 to 8 inches off the ground. And then that way it's really easy to protect them in the wintertime if it gets really cold where you live. So how important is the shape? I don't think it's that important, but you know what, dude? In my experience with the Espaliers, you can kind of fix them. It's not the end of the world if you mess up. You know, my peach trees don't look too great. Let's see. Maybe I have a picture somewhere of my peach trees. Trying to find. So here's the peaches, guys, but you can see, you know, this arm right here where this wire is. See that wire? Behind this whole mass doesn't have that arm coming in. So it really stinks, you know? It's not optimal, but this limb is slowly growing, and at some point it will reach this halfway point between the two trees, and then it will send up upward shoots from here, and it'll fix itself in time. I don't think it's really that important, dude. It's up to you. You know, how much of a perfectionist are you? You know what I mean? You know, how perfectionist do you want to get with it? You know, it's not going to really affect the tree at all. You know, more wavy. I don't really know exactly what wavy looks like. Is it kind of going, you know, is it going like this? Or is it up in the air more like that? You know what I mean? If it's up in the air more like this, just as much as, I guess, if it's not too much up in the air like that, you know, like a wave. But if it's wavy like horizontally, then it doesn't matter. Babette, no problem. You know what? You could put organza bags on them. Have you tried that? The organza bags are really affordable to get on the internet too. So these little party favor bags, you can get them on like Amazon. You got to get the 6x9 inch size, and you can put these over any fig you want, and they'll fit on there perfectly. Too bad Fruit Nut doesn't ship to California. That is too bad. I honestly don't know why. I know when you sell fig trees, shipping is a lot of money. Shipping a tree is a lot of money. And usually when sellers ship a fig tree, guys, what most people don't realize, if you've never done this, is that the tree costs a lot of money to ship. And even though they may charge $20 in shipping, their shipping could be like $30, you know? What's going on, NJ Callie Gardner? I saw you comment recently. I don't remember what you said, but thanks for commenting. Let's see. Who is that asking me that? Okay, Tommy's asking me, have I ever tried Doug's Exquisito? No, I have not. It looks like an interesting fig. It does. I don't know. You know, he has really good experiences with that fig, believe it or not. It's one of the longest season figs that he has, and I can't remember what else he said about it. You can go on our figs and read about it. see exactly what he said. I've never had it. I've had his Thermalito. His Thermalito is incredible. I don't know how different it's going to be from like other Adriatic types. And an Adriatic type is things like green-skinned, red interior figs. This is Smith, but not exactly Smith. We're talking about, here's the Adriatic family right here. Stella is in that family, and if you go to the synonyms page, you can see what figs are in this family. So Battaglia green, emerald strawberry. Well, maybe emerald strawberry is slightly different than that. JH Adriatic, Rockaway green, Sister Madeline's green grape. All these figs are of that similar taste profile, and I don't know how Thermalito is going to compare, to be honest with you, but it's really good, really good. It was the third best fig I think I've ever eaten. Yeah, I think that's pretty accurate. Let's see. Is pinching pruning, says Weaver? It is a form of pruning. Yeah, why not? Because when you take off the tip with your thumb, it could then send out branches, and I guess that's a way of forming the tree, maybe. I wouldn't do that, though, during the season. I would wait until things go dormant and then take off the apical bud, which is the tip that we pinch off, and then I would let the tree branch out from there. I think it's just better off that way. It's my personal preference. Okay, so NJ Callie Gardner says that he or she has a Janus fig, which is Cadota, and Desert King. Cool. Are you in California or are you in New Jersey? Okay, so you've used foil and the bags and even a box. What the birds don't get, the possum does. Well, that really stinks. I think you need to get a cat. You can get an outdoor cat, leave the cat outside all the time, and the cat will deter the birds, may even kill some birds, and it will probably deter the possum too. And it'll hunt on its own. You just need to get an outdoor cat that's specifically outdoors. Give it a little bit of a shelter and feed it, and that will solve your problem. I want to get one, but when the temperatures drop below 32 degrees, it's not good for cats. So it really stinks, and we get to 0. So I can't really have a cat, an outdoor cat, because I need to bring it inside, and my family is allergic. But someday I'll have a horde of cats. I'll be that crazy cat lady with a whole bunch of outdoor cats roaming my orchard. Okay, Christopher says, where's a good place to buy figs? I have a bunch of brown turkeys, Violette de Bordeaux, and I want to get my hands on an LSU Tiger, but not sure where to get one. Well, Christopher, I did do a video, and we just talked about this. But for those of you who don't know, I did do a video on this topic where I recommend buying fig trees. And I think it's just called Where to Buy Fig Trees. And yeah, the best places to buy fig trees. And here I talk about, I did this in the winter. But in the wintertime, I film a lot of things inside like I'm doing right now. And then we talked about where to get them, and I list 4 nurseries. I'd say my favorite nursery is Just Fruits and Exotics. You can't go wrong with their fruit trees, because when you go to their figs, and most of their fruit trees, they're in containers, which is okay, has its positives and its negatives. I like bare root fruit trees the most, but for figs, it's nice to have them in pots, and you can buy things like Black Madeira. You can buy Colonel Littman's, Champagne. Be All is a nice fig as well. Green Ashia is a great fig. Flanders is a good fig, depending on where you live. Canadria is one of my favorite figs. Hardy Chicago. This one, I think, Houlier. I'm not sure how to pronounce it, but they pronounce it pretty weird in the South. This one may be a top LSU fig as well. For whoever asked me that. I forget who that was. But LSU Holier, whatever, is a good one. Hunt's also a good one. Maryland Seedless. I mean, there's so many on here. I have Little Ruby in the ground. Latarula, wouldn't recommend it. Brown Turkey, wouldn't recommend it. Magnolia, wouldn't recommend it. LSU Scots Black is another good one. I forgot about some LSU figs, man. LSU Scots Black is good, but you know what? I think I like Tiger more because Tiger is way earlier. Scots Black's more like a mid to late season variety. There's also LSU Red that I'm going to get to try this year. I tried it last year, but it didn't look too great. It was watered too much. If you water your figs too much, guys, the flavor decreases. Just Fruits and Exotics also sells Smith. This is where my Smith comes from. This is probably this is easily one of the best figs I have, in the top 3 for me overall, for sure. They sell all kinds of figs, guys. And you know what the nice part about it? Let's say I wanted to buy an overworked fig. It's in a 3-gallon size pots. It's huge when you get this thing. Huge. But guess what? It's expensive. It's on the more expensive side. So if you don't want to spend as much money, you can go to Raintree and also get pretty good sized trees. But the problem with Raintree, I've noticed, is that some of them are mislabeled. So it's a bit of a risk, you know, Christopher, but Raintree does a really nice job of selling really healthy plants, and they also have some really nice varieties, which I've also listed in that video that I just talked about, that I did in the wintertime. They will get you a tree that in 1 year will easily root out a 5-gallon size pot or even a 10-gallon size pot, and will be quite large by the end of that season. So this is a really nice jump to figdom. Okay. What are the day and night temps to start the at the what? Okay. What are the day and nighttime temps that start to end the ripening season? Are you asking me what they're in the beginning of the season and the end of the season? So figs don't really grow that well, guys, below 60 degrees. They really don't grow at all below 60 degrees. Below 70 degrees, you're starting to get a little iffy there. But they really start kicking up when the root zone of the plant is 80 degrees or higher. You don't want to go too high. But what are the day and nighttime temps in the beginning of my season? That's a great question. Well, the nighttime temps could still be in the beginning of my season 32 to 40 degrees. We usually don't get over 70 early on in the season in May. I would say that probably the daytime is like 60, the nighttime being 40 in the beginning of my season, and then at the end of my season the daytime temperature is like maybe 70 and the low is 50. Yeah, maybe it's 60-40. I'm not sure. I don't know, but we go from beginning of May to the beginning of November here. So we don't really have a huge, very long season, to be honest with you. It's really only like 180 days. So NJ Callie Gardner says, I'm from California now, and wait, you're in California from New Jersey. Okay. And he's a dude. Just want everyone to know. But yeah, you're from Jersey, huh? How do you like it in California now that you have escaped the cold? Okay, so you have 3 feral cats in the garden, says Babette, and it does not help. Oh, man. Well, I wish you the best of luck. Is brown turkey a bad fig? Personally, I think so. I have a brown turkey fig, that will be ripe in about 3 to 5 days, and I will pick it and I will do a video on it and I will tell you what I think about it. I don't think it's very good, but depending on where you live, it can be good. So if you live in California, it could be quite tasty. Where I live, it tastes really, really bad. It doesn't like water, so you in Florida, it doesn't. If you're in Florida, I think you're in Florida. I think that's what you said. It's not a good fig in Florida. It's only really good in a very dry climate. It's huge. It's a big fig, but big doesn't always mean better in terms of fruit. I really don't like larger fruits because the smaller figs, it really is like, I am actually going to put a video out on this. I have a video that's coming out. Well, I didn't publish it yet, but I'm doing a video specifically on how to get larger figs. And one of them is use genetics, which is if you have the right genetics like brown turkey has, then you can get a large fig. That's one really important factor. And out of the thousands of varieties of figs that there are, if you cut them in half, look at them, look at a photo of them. I'm not tasting them, right? I'm just looking at them. And I've studied these figs, man. You look at a photo, you can tell what the thing is going to taste like in a way. You know how good it is. Over time, you develop a thing where it's similar to like if you have a cavity and you're at the dentist and the dentist says, you got cavities, man. You got 10 cavities. You're like, what? I got 10 cavities? This is crazy. And then you're like, let me see this chart, right? And you look at the cavities on the x-ray and you're like, I don't see any cavities. And the guy's like, they're right there, right there, right there, right there. And you're like, huh. And you just have no idea what to look for because you don't know what a cavity looks like. So for me, it's kind of similar in that you kind of develop an eye for cavities. But in terms of all of the thousands of varieties, I mean, I haven't seen physically with my own eyes thousands of varieties. Maybe I have seen 1,000. I don't know. But when you look at them cut in half, you can tell how the fig's going to taste. And I guarantee you, the larger the fig is, on average, this is a blanket statement, so you can't, I'm sure there's a big fig that's really tasty, but on average, you lose flavor the larger the fig gets. So, kind of sucks, but I've been finding that the larger they are, that they lose more of their flavor. And for the people out there that want larger figs, in this video that I'm about to release, I'm really going to tell them a whole boatload of bad information, or bad news, I should say. Let's see here. Okay, so Jackie just got a black Spanish. That's the same thing as brown turkey. Sorry, Jackie. I feel for you. I would take it back and say this is a bad fig, and I heard it doesn't taste good. What you should be doing, Jackie, is look at my spreadsheet and find any of these figs. This is the figs that you want. Those are the ones that are going to taste good and they're going to do well here. So Babette says hers is brown turkey. It's going nuts. It does go nuts, man. That tree, Babette, is super prolific and it puts out huge figs, and that's why people love it. But you know what? In a warmer, dry climate like yours, it's actually probably pretty good. By no means is it going to be the best fig ever. It's going to blow your mind. You're going to become a fig convert and make YouTube videos and have 100 and some varieties of figs. But it will taste pretty good there. Why have Claremont says, why have prices dropped in the Black Beauty 10? Well, first off, Black Beauty 10 isn't really that good. There's one dude that says it's good, and the guy who says it's good has a horrible reputation in the fig community. He was around before I started to even get into figs, So I never really knew the guy or talked to him personally. But from every post he ever made on the fig community, I could not stand him. And I thought he was crazy. And then he came back recently and sold cuttings of his Black Beauty 10 because he found out that a friend of mine, Brian, was selling Black Beauty 10 cuttings, and he wanted to keep Black Beauty 10 all for himself. Not Brian, but the guy who found it, the crazy guy. He wanted to keep it all for himself, and he said, I'm leaving. I'm not doing this fig community stuff anymore. I don't like you guys. I'm a baby. So he left. And he kept his fig with him and never shared it with anybody. And somehow Brian got a hold of it. That's for a whole other discussion. And then Brian got a hold of it and started giving it away to people. He wasn't even selling it. He gave me cuttings for nothing. He gave a fig that had a huge reputation because this guy, the crazy guy, said it was the best fig ever. It's so good. It's so good. Well, Brian was giving it away, and I got it for nothing. And I started giving away trees to people so that they could taste it. Gave one to my friend Raphael. And then people started to get the fig and ripening the fig and realized it's really not that good. But then again, it's been very early, right? So people haven't had the fig for very long. Every photo I've ever seen of the fig, like I said, I've seen thousands of varieties of figs. When you open up a fig, you can tell how good it's going to taste. Black Beauty 10 does not look like a fig that's going to taste like it should be $300. You know what I mean? It doesn't work. It's just not a thing. It shouldn't be selling for that much money. So when you have a fig that has a really crazy, reputation or hype behind it, it gets exploded and people start going after it for the craziest of reasons, when you can clearly see by looking at the fig it's not going to taste that good. So that's why I think that guy's crazy, is he kept it all for himself, and he said it was the best thing ever, but so far it hasn't really proven to be that great. And there's a few people out there who have said okay things about it, or may say, oh, it has potential, but I don't know, maybe I'll eat my words one day. I hope I eat my words one day, because I have the tree, and I want it to taste good. But it's also a Black Mission type, right? So the fig looks just like Black Mission. And we have Black Mission types right here. I have 30 of them listed. I just ripened one for myself, believe it or not. It was a fig that was mislabeled that I got from Italy, and turned out to be the wrong thing. I ripened it, turned out to be a black fig. It was supposed to be a green fig. It turned out to be a Black Mission fig. And this fig is called Fico Nida, if I'm pronouncing that right. And here's the fig that I ripened, guys. By the way, if you are into figs and you're not a part of ourfigs.com, you should be, because this is where a lot of great information comes from. This is where you can really learn a lot about figs and the many varieties of figs. Fico Nida, by the way, is a Black Mission type. You could very clearly see. This is a beautiful fig, isn't it, guys? Doesn't this look really, really beautiful? It looks like something that would taste actually quite good. But note the neck. See how it's a pretty long neck? It's usually red, green, has the vertical cracking on it. It's a black, dark fig. It's quite beautiful. In fact, if I see this fig in person right now, if I go outside, it's almost blue. It's a really pretty fig. But the taste was horrible. It was a 5 out of 10. The skin was very bitter. It has a thick skin. Thick skin figs don't taste very good, guys. They're there for shipping. That's what the thick skin is for. You want to ship a fig across the country, you need to get a fig with a thick skin, but it's not very palatable. Same thing with brown turkey. It has a thick skin. And that's one of the reasons why it holds together so well and doesn't spoil so easily, so that when you ship it all the way across the country, it arrives there in decent shape. But Black Beauty 10, to go back to that, it's very similar looking to this fig. Let's look at Black Beauty 10 photos, guys. So you can go on Facebook, guys, and join these fig groups, and you can find photos of these figs very easily. It's one way you can do it. So here we go. So Dennis says it's really good. And I believe Dennis. If Dennis says a fig's good, I believe him, because he's had probably more figs than most people in existence. But looking at this fig, looking at the interior of this fig, it doesn't look good. In fact, it doesn't even look ripe. It looks easily, by my tastes, by my standards, it's about 7 to 10 days off of where it needs to be for me to even really enjoy it. So I don't know, but see the vertical cracking here? See the neck, how it's red? See how it's a long neck? See this cracking here at the eye? That's a very, very similar fig to a Black Mission style fig, which is, here's 30 of them. So you want Black Beauty 10, you can get Ababaria cuttings for $5 if you want. But then again, like I said, I could be eating my words, but that's my opinion of it so far. So I think we can move on. It's a long. That was a long answer, I think. Okay, so my Desert King is shape as a stick without branches. Should I prune it knee-high level in the dormant season? You could, man. Some people, what they do is, in California, the way they prune their figs is really interesting. They pollard them. If I can find this here. So this guy I'm looking for, he lives in California, and what he does is he pollards his figs in the ground. Yeah, it's not in here, but basically pollarding, guys, is really simple, where you cut the tree back to a certain height and leave some limbs there, and by leaving these limbs, see these limbs here, it will then send out new shoots the following season. This is a really nice way to control the height of your tree. So Babette, if you're still watching, you may want to do this when your tree goes dormant, is that prune it back to 5 to 7 scaffolds and call it a day, because then it'll send out new shoots and do its thing, and you won't have a problem keeping the tree small. You can actually grow a lot of figs in a small space that way. But you can only really do this in warm climates, so I don't really recommend doing this if you're like in zone 8 or below. I guess we kind of do that in containers. But anyway, Christopher loves brown turkey, I guess. Yes, sir, I love it too. They miss do you treat bush type figs differently than standard type trees? Okay, so almost all fig trees will grow as a bush if you let them. It will get to a certain point where in the tree's life you could maintain it as a tree, no problem. But for me here in this climate, they're almost always a bush, and if you don't live in like zone 8 through 10, you're not going to really be able to maintain that tree form, because the cold will knock it back and continuously make it send out side shoots, forming it into a bush. But I guess if you're asking me in a different way, maybe I can answer this. Do you train or treat bush type figs differently than a standard tree? So I do train bush. If I'm going to train my fig as a bush, I will treat it differently. Yes, I will. I will train it differently. I'll treat it differently than I would a tree. So in the ground, like I said, they're bushes. In my containers, they're trees. If they're trees, I'm trying to get scaffolds. I'm trying to get permanent structure, permanent scaffolds to my tree, right? If I have it as a bush, I want to maintain about 5 to 9 canes, and I want to keep those canes as my base, as my trunks. So instead of having one trunk, I have 5 to 9, and then from there I let it branch out and form a nice bush type structure. But for me here in Pennsylvania, even that is quite difficult. You usually only have about 5 to 9 trunks coming up from the base, and you grow them straight up in the air, and that's it. That's usually the best you can do, unfortunately. So Weaver says, I look forward to seeing your video. Oh my god, if you guys put out a lot of comments. I got a lot of catching up to do. Alright, so Christopher says, I'm in Florida too. I'll just say this, they're a fantastic entry-level fig. They're everywhere. Sure, there are better figs, but they're a great gateway fig to fig growing. I agree with that. Well said. Weaver, I think you should invest to another type of fig tree. I do. If you only have brown turkey, you should certainly get another one and try it. They're quite different, and I talk about this in the flavor groups, guys. It's very different figs. Brown turkey is in this category here, a sugar fig. Tastes a lot like a melon. You know, it's pretty sweet. It's like a sweet melon is sort of one way of putting it. And then you got honey figs, which literally are sweet melons with honey poured on them. It's crazy. And then you have berry figs, which taste like all kinds of different berries. I would recommend this category the most. Some of them taste like strawberries, raspberries, blackberries, blueberries. I mean, the whole wide berry spectrum. Berries you've never tasted before. I mean, they're really something else. Let's see. Is there any fertilizer or nutrient to apply? Tommy says, is there any fertilizer or nutrient to apply for our potted figs that would help it over winter? There's no fertilizer or nutrient, but there is something you can do, which is called mulch. And every container potted fig should have mulch, especially in the wintertime, because you don't want your figs to dry out, but you don't want to overwater them in the winter either. And the mulch really helps maintain a really nice level of moisture in your trees. Helps with splitting, you know, helps with controlling that water. It's really nice. You know, let's see. Jackie said, oh crap, that was the one brown turkey, and she wanted to avoid that one. Yeah, sorry. Okay, so Weaver says, I'm feeling the shade in the brown turkey tree. Yeah, sorry guys. Oh hey, it's Brian. Brian says LSU Red will knock your socks off. Well, alright. I'm going to have to go back on what I said then, I guess, on all the LSU figs. So maybe it'll beat Tiger, who knows. But I really like, for flavor, okay, so if we're talking flavor, I really like LSU Scots Black as well as LSU Tiger, because they have the honey plus the berry. That's my preference. But LSU Red, I think, is a berry fig, if I'm not mistaken, Brian. It also has a really good reviews to it, so I'll get to taste it this year. I have like 6 of them on my trees. Really excited to try it, for sure. It's one that many people forget about, so I kind of forgot about it. I'm not gonna lie, but hey, excited. Who is this crazy guy? You don't have to say. His name's Dan from Louisiana. He's crazy. Wow, now I feel like I want to rip it out of the pot. I feel like I'm wasting my time. Oh. Well, if you enjoy the fruit, right? So if you enjoy, we talked about we talked about black mission figs, which I don't really like. We talked about brown turkey figs, which I don't really like. But if you enjoy the fig, keep growing it, right? You like it, keep doing it, you know? Who am I to say one is better than the other? Because if you enjoy it, you enjoy it. I can't convince you otherwise, right? But there's thousands of varieties, right? Just like with apples, there's thousands of apple varieties. There's thousands of peach, well, maybe not thousands of peach varieties, but there's thousands of stone fruit varieties and thousands of this, thousands of that. So You know, there's always something better out there. It's really one way of looking at it. There's always a better variety, and I could say Black Madeira is the best tasting fig, but one day we could get a fig that comes into the fig community that's better than that. You know, it could be Black Beauty 10. Who knows? Okay, so let's see. Chris Claremont. Okay, I'm glad I asked the BB10 question. Crazy fig story. It is a crazy fig story, to be honest with you. There's a lot of crazy fig stories, I think. It's really a sad part of the hobby, but it is what it is. Stella Plum says, Weaver, you can always use it as rootstock. Great point. Yep. Yep, Black Mission and Brown Turkey are what they normally sell in stores, and those are the ones I don't really like. Trilogy Media says, any thoughts on Izmir and Siblawi? Well, Siblawi it has a good reputation. It's a very sweet fig. I know my friend Jamie likes it. My friend Wills likes it. But to be honest with you, I have never had it. And maybe I can get Jamie when I see her in September to give me one to try. Maybe I will. Because I just gave her a tree. I'd be like, Jamie, can you at least get me one of those figs and just bring it? She probably will. She's the nicest person ever. Let's see. But Izmir... You know what? I want to look up a picture because I want to research this variety, guys. I haven't really put too much thought into it, to be honest with you. So we're here on rfigs.com. You can search in here for many fig varieties. Here's one that was ripened recently, I believe, this year. Yeah. Maybe Jamie has actually posted a response to that, but I know she posted something. Look, I even commented in this thread. What did I say? Nice. Is this Maine? Alright, so look at this fig. It does look pretty good, actually. Doesn't look like anything I know, so it seems quite unique. Let's see what Jamie's photos look like. You know, it could be good. I don't know. But to answer, oh, here we go. Siblawi loving it. My God, I can't pronounce this fig. This fig looks pretty good. Like the exterior color that Jamie's getting on this fig means she did a really good job of ripening it. It's a pretty fig. She says it's so sweet that it tastes like candy. Now, I'm a little... See, I think what's turned me off of this fig is that it's so sweet that you lose out on some other flavors. It looks like a large fig, too. Like, I've had a couple figs, like, let's see... Recently, I've had a really, really ripe Ronde de Bordeaux. And that's a really great fig, but if you let it ripen super long, I find that it's so sweet that it masks some of the berry flavor. I don't know. This one could be a winner. I think I want to try it, to be honest with you. I'm going to let Jamie... I'm going to see if I can get Jamie to get me a fig so I can taste it, and then maybe next year I'll grow it. But Izmir is going to be a top-tier fig, I have a feeling. Like, it's going to be incredible. We can go back to this... I have so many things open right now. So here's Steven's photos. And he has a couple Izmir pictures, I believe, in here somewhere. I don't see it. Did I miss it, guys? Yeah. Okay, so maybe it's up here. Here's this mirror right here, but it's not cut open. So I've seen the interior of this fig, and it looks just nuts. I have 4 trees, like I said, or 3 trees when I was talking to Vinny. I'm going to get to taste it. It's going to ripen in the later portion of the season, so the quality isn't going to be there. It's on a very young tree. but I think it's going to be a top tier variety. It's hard to say, but it's common, and you can go on to palmy.bg, which is let's see, here it is right here. We're looking right at it. So this is the guy who found this mirror, and this is the guy who he sells it. He's in Bulgaria, and this guy shows you uncaprified fruits. Sorry for that. So he shows you uncaprified fruits and caprified fruits. So they both look pretty incredible, do they not? Uncaprified still looks really good. Caprified's huge and incredible looking. So I'm really excited to try it. This website kind of stinks. But you can see here it is right here, uncaprified, and how it's like greenish, which is exactly what Steven has. More of a green fig, uncaprified. Yeah, I just think it's going to be a top tier fig, for sure. So if I lived in California, if I lived in Florida, sorry, you live in Florida, well, Babette, you could pollard your tree in numerous positions. So you could pollard it all the way across, and then it would branch out from there, and every year just keep cutting it back down, you know? You don't have to let it be huge, you know what I mean? Just wait till it's dormant. But what variety do I suggest you get for Florida? Any of the LSU figs. Now, I don't know if you have problems with nematodes in your soil, but LSU Purple does really well with nematodes. Any of the figs that I list in my spreadsheet is going to do really well in California, because all of these deal with moisture quite well. I would get a Smith. I'm sure Brian would agree with me. Smith is a really incredible fig. And I would also get Hardy Chicago, some kind of Hardy Chicago type, like Malta Black. Does really well down there in Florida. Let's see, what else I got for you guys? Have ever germinated fig seeds? No. I would imagine because they're so small, they probably need to be on the surface. I would germinate them in a humidity dome to start. I think that's probably key. And make sure they're on the surface. It's not too wet. I think that's probably your best bet. But I've never done it. Your tree has no fruit, huh, Weaver? No fruit on your brown turkey? I don't know what it is with some people in Florida. They just struggle to get fruit for some reason. I can't answer that, though. You have to. If you send me photos of your tree, and I could tell you why it's not fruiting, I could give you some ideas. Thank you, Christopher, for that compliment. Let's see. SC Boy says, most of the fruits you grow thrive in my home country of Algeria. We have amazing figs here. Yeah, you do. You certainly do. That whole area has really nice figs. Tommy says, Ross, do you graft just for the fun of it? I only ask because in our Zone A, Zone 7A, I'd be worried about trees dying of the roots during the winter, and then you're stuck with the rootstock instead of what you grafted. Yeah. I don't graft any of the in-ground trees, only the potted plants, but it is very fun. Because the potted plants will never drop below 32 or 20 degrees where I have them. Actually, they'll probably never drop below 25 where I'm storing them. It rains every day in Florida. Definitely lots of sunshine. Yeah, I mean, I would focus on pinching, you know. If you haven't pinched your fig tree, Weaver, that's a huge thing to do for your fig. Huge. And I have videos on that as well. So guys, we are sort of wrapping it up here. if any of you guys have any questions left, this is the time. Or you can put them in the description of the video, of this video, because it'll save and it'll become a video that you guys can view at any time. But I'm really happy to be able to do this for you guys and have people interested in this hobby and interested in my channel, because it's really made a huge impact in my life, and it's really just been a great thing to do. I mean, I've gotten so much fulfillment out of it. So, well, I think we've covered all the questions in the previous video, and I answered most of your questions here in the live chat. So again, I'll give you guys like another 5 minutes, and then I'm gonna get out of here and maybe do some editing or something before I go to bed. But again, you know, I really do want to appreciate, I appreciate you guys so much, even when you just comment on the video, because I read all of your comments. You know, they show up in here, and I haven't gotten a chance to respond to all of you, but I do respond to pretty much every comment you guys put out. And just not too long ago, someone sent me a really nice email. You know, I get interesting emails or messages all the time, and some of them are really funny. I like when you guys are funny, by the way. You guys can add some humor in. I try to be funny, but I find it difficult to be humorous and informative at the same time. It's a struggle, you know. It's tough to show off your personality while being informative and trying to teach people things, I find. So it's something I've been working on, but I would really like to be more funny with my videos, and it's always great if you guys joke around. There's a guy named M, just M, who comments on my videos all the time, and he says some of the funniest stuff. So Ross, you need to add some bananas to your garden. I would like to grow bananas. That would be something for my greenhouse in the future, because there's really some interesting bananas out there. Again, I was going to grow one from Just Fruits and Exotics, because you can buy banana trees. And one of the things, because you can grow bananas in containers actually, but I was trying to find a banana that would fit in my house. Because bananas, they get so big that you have to bring them inside in the wintertime or put them in a greenhouse. But if they're 10 feet tall, because a lot of them, they fruit when they reach a certain height, and it just really stinks, you know. So if you can find a dwarfed variety called, one of them is Rajapuri, which I thought about getting, but Rajapuri has pretty decent fruit and it doesn't get too huge. This was one I was considering for a container. I don't know, I just have a really hard time bringing fruit trees into my house and overwintering them there. A lot of them struggle there throughout the entirety of the winter. My spreadsheet is available to share in all of the comments. I could share it with you guys right now, but it's in the description of every one of my videos. It automatically goes into the description for me. What variety does well in California? Unknown Pastilieri is probably the best. I really like Black Madeira. I've also like Desert King is probably a really good choice because it has a nice breba. The main crop ripens because you have the wasp there. So I also really like, let's see, I like Long D Out is a good choice for California. Borgia Soaked Grease is really good for California. Socorro Black, Yellow Longneck is a really nice honey fig that's huge. You could grow there. There's a lot of figs that do well in California, man. It's hard to say which ones are the best, but there is really good information out there now on this topic. And Unknown Pastilieri across the board is an incredible fig in California. Ziti is also really good. Let's see. You have some dwarfs. What dwarfs do you have? Bananas need serious heat. Yeah, they do. I guess the goal would be to get them to the right size, or close to the right size, before the season ends, and then you overwinter them in the house. They really don't grow all that much, and then bring them outside, and then the following season, hopefully they'll fruit that year, and you'll get a decent crop that summer, which should be pretty cool. I mean, bananas, man, are so good compared to the store. It's unbelievable. Let's see. Mr. Agony says, "Thank you, Ross, you inspired me to make my first garden video." Oh, that's cool. Awesome. What was your first garden video on? What did you talk about? Let's see. Christopher says, "I live in Florida and they don't fruit here because it doesn't get hot enough." Oh, that stinks. There are many varieties though, Christopher. So you may be able to find a variety that fruits in the length of one season. Oh, you live in North Florida though. Yeah. Yeah, you may struggle there, buddy. I don't know what to tell you. You're gonna grow a food forest in your backyard. I would love to do that. If I could get rid of all of my grass, I would. And the things I would grow here: persimmons, figs, pawpaw, mulberry, blackberries, raspberries. I'm thinking I can grow muscadine grapes here. Strawberries are extremely reliable. I also really love gooseberries, honeyberries. I've heard a lot of good things about jostaberry. And jujube seems alright. Let's see. I would focus on mainly those things, because European grapes, stone fruits, pears. Well, pears do pretty well here. But most of those things I just named, the pears, the stone fruits, and the grapes, they don't do well here. There's too much humidity. Oh wow, you have 16 fruit trees, 9 are figs. Well played. I hope you have a banana tree, because I would love to have a banana tree too. Pomegranates, man. Pomegranates, persimmons, and figs are my favorite fruits. But if I had a homegrown banana, may just beat out one of them. Yeah, I know. I could easily kill the grass. It would take no time at all. I just can't dig up the grass. That's the thing, Stella. The truly tiny banana is very small, but how's the fruit, right? Is the fruit worth it? Because I'm going to go through all this trouble to grow this banana, to then only get mediocre fruit compared to the store? I don't know. That's what I've always wondered, because there's so many banana varieties out there, like the apple banana, the manzano banana. Oh god, that banana's good, you know? Like, there's so many bananas that some of them even have like a berry flavor to them, tastes like strawberries. I think there's one that tastes like coconut. All kinds of interesting bananas, and I just feel like I may be wasting my time with it. Yeah, that's a nice website I've heard about for wood chips. I also think I would like to grow mushrooms. That's the next thing on my list, and if I could find someone that has logs, fresh logs, so I can grow mushrooms on the logs, that would be the best. I'm really struggling to try to find logs. I don't know if maybe they'll have logs on that website. Maybe I should check. Chipdrop.com. Why am I on Facebook right now? Did anyone see what just happened? How did I get on? How am I on Facebook? What is going on? So does the chip drop website take you to Facebook? I guess you have to log into this stuff, or is it only on Facebook? The Craigslist section for logs. That's a good idea, Nick. You know what though? The problem with the logs is they have to be fresh logs, right? So I don't know. I guess I could ask, like, how fresh are the logs, you know? I would like to get stumps as well for... I would like to get stumps just to decorate the yard, you know? Just for, like, visual purposes, you know what I mean? Like, you can have, like, different stumps and different logs just scattered in various ways to make things look really nice. I also would like to get more rocks, like really big boulders, but they're quite expensive and hard to find. You know, you can't just go, you know, I could just drive up to the mountains, I guess, and get rocks and bring them back, but that's a lot. It's a lot of work. 35 cents a pound, you can get them any time of year. Is that wood chips? NJ Kelly Gardner, no problem. Happy to help. You guys are helping me too. Like, this is exactly what, this is a huge reason why I have a channel. Like, not only do I help you guys, but I get help all the time. The amount I get back is insane. It's not even really like a question as to whether or not I should continue doing this. You know what I mean? Like, you start out in a way that you almost like kind of just want to do this for a few reasons. Maybe it's cool, maybe you want to help some people, and then it turns out to be something way bigger than that, and you know, maybe next year when I have 50,000, or 3 years from now 50,000, or however long it takes, 50,000 and 100, or however high it is that I get, you know, it could be even exponentially even crazier than that point. You know what I mean? I'm sure it's just going to get more and more awesome. Fig Hunter has plenty. How much do I want? Oh, is that Simon? I can't really tell, but I think that's Simon. How many logs do I want? I don't know, man, but am I going to see you soon? You know what I mean? I thought you were supposed to get me that figs, and we're gonna propagate them. What's going on with that? You should send me a text. But let's see. Yes, we'll give you a choice of chips or logs. Oh, guys, oh my God, this could be the best thing ever. Is this the website, by the way? This is the website, right? This is not, or is it on Facebook? Right, I'm on the right place. Is it Get Trip Drop or is it Chip Drop? I have seen James Prigione's channel. He seems like a cool guy. He's young like me. He's also growing some like nice stuff that does pretty well in my area, you know? He's much further along, I think, and has more freedom than I do to plant and do whatever he wants. When I have the freedom to do whatever I want, you guys better look out, man. It's gonna be something to see. It's gonna be a spectacle. But yeah, James has some nice videos. I like that guy. We should meet at some point. I'd like to meet that guy. Let's see. They're all fresh trees cut in your area. They'll deliver right to you. Well, there you go. My God. Perfect. I'm on the right website and everything. Alright, guys. Seriously, I can't thank you all enough. I don't know if I've put it into the exact words that I've wanted to put it in, but I really appreciate all of you. It's as simple as that. So, again, thank you for all the support, and you know, thank you for joining me in this live stream. You made my evening much more uplifting. I hope I did the same thing to you guys, And if you haven't already, I would suggest you guys follow me on Facebook or Instagram or Twitter. It's all on, or all at Ross Ratty. So hopefully hopefully you guys enjoyed this one, and I'll talk to you all later. Now the question is, how do I stop this thing? Alright.